So I took Jack for a walk down in the beautiful woods beside Lough Meelagh. Now if you look on Google Maps, you'll see that Lough Meelagh is very close to where I live. It's just in my local village. And it's a place that I love to walk because it's a very ancient woodland. And you'll see in a few moments why it's such an ancient woodland as we walk up towards the old Megalithic Court Tomb. Now, again, you can look for Megalithic Court Tomb and find out more about that. I like to think that some of the little walks and adventures I take you on and what I talk about spurs an interest in you to research a little bit further. So these woodlands are very ancient because, of course, the court tomb would have been originally in the middle of a forest. There's a huge diversity of trees and ground cover in these woods. Mushrooms, all kinds of fungi, ferns, and again so many different varieties of ferns. Ground cover of lots of wild herbs, some brambles, not many brambles. You don't actually get many brambles in woodlands underneath trees. Brambles need to have a little bit more light than what a woodland would ever afford them. And looking up to the dizzying heights of some of these trees is absolutely amazing. It's dizzying. Over recent years, there's been funding for these woodland paths. 17 years when I first came here, the woodland paths were just walked out, trodden earthen paths, and now they've put in some sort of hardcore paths. So of course it's accessible now for wheelchairs, which is hugely important because woodland is so wonderfully uplifting and healing and energizing, and all these incredible gifts that we get from the trees, that they must be made accessible for everyone. So the paths have been widened and they're firm underfoot. And now we're coming up towards the Megalithic Court Tomb. You can see the trees surrounding it. And there's a sort of an open aspect here. Of course, many of the stones have been disturbed over the years. Not usually by the ancient Irish who lived here, or even the contemporary Irish, but as you'll know from history, a lot of Ireland was purloined by invaders who didn't have the same respect for the old ways in many instances. So a lot of the stones were disturbed or taken away. The Irish themselves, of course, or should I say the Irish ourselves, have always had a, if not a deep respect for these ancient monuments, there's been a deep superstition that forbids us from destroying anything that's from the old ancestors. Yes, I suppose ancestor worship has always been a part of the ancient ways, whether it was within the Celts or within other tribes that were assimilated. But the light in this forest, this woodland, is beautiful. And of course at this time of the year, as the summer ends and we move towards Samhain, there's all these incredible mushrooms come up, and you can almost sense this slow drifting off between this world and the other world, especially at this time of year. And that's why they say, of course, the veil thins. Well, of course the veil thins. You can see it. You can smell it. You can sense it. There is another energy, life form rising up to take ownership of the dark. And so our days are shorter. So much more appreciative, as the light is so important, the daylight. Is it little wonder that with these ancient peoples living so close to the earth, they were much more aware of the energy and of the other world. As they say, the veil thins. These are liminal times, liminal spaces. Enriched by what we do not fear. I think there's been so much fear of nature has been indoctrinated into us. Fear of the darker times, fear of the liminal times. But it's very magical. It's magical and it's healing. It's powerful. It's timeless. It's incredible just to be here, just to breathe this air, just to be in this sacred space, just to wonder at the sheer beauty of it all. And amazing to think that we continue to breathe in the very atoms of those who have gone before us. Maybe that's another reason why it's so incredible. You'll find a link to the Bealtaine Cottage bookshop underneath this video and every other video. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon, and also the few who support me via PayPal. There's also some stickers. Very important message that. Blessings to you all.